Man, look, it's freaking March 7th. When did this happen?
Hey, look, please get this year over with as fast as possible too. Thank God.
Nah, look, I can't wait till the summertime. Look, man, I had a chat with somebody, and I'm seriously to the point where I'm going to test these antibodies out. And it's just like I really need to go somewhere. Like my brain is on.
Are you reaching your breaking point?
Yeah, man, I'm on scrambled eggs right now. But
I understand.
Enough of me. Kaiser, how are you doing today, brother?
Tar Heels won last night, so
that's always a good thing.
Yeah, I'm good. Repping the colors today.
Yeah.
They beat Duke. That's. I haven't really been following college basketball as much as I normally do, but you always follow UNC and Duke. And Duke, man, how do you be this terrible after being so good for so long? It's crazy.
Hey, can we can I make it? Actually, can I make an amendment to the show? Can we just talk about how terrible Duke is all show? That'll be fun.
Well, I don't watch college basketball. That'd be a conversation for you guys. Jamal, how are you doing, man?
I'm cool, man. I'm just, I'm a hardworking black man just trying to survive out here, man. I'm good, though.
Hey, ladies, man, Jamal needs a meal. So go ahead and shoot your shot in the DM.
I like steak. I like steak. I like bourbon.
And trap music. Okay.
I don't know about that,
man. Look, guys, look, man. The Hornets miraculously finished that road trip. The terrible Western Conference road trip. 3-3.
We called it.
We called it.
Everybody called it. Everybody called it. Yeah.
And we had a thrilling win versus Sacramento last Sunday night. And then we had a schedule loss to Portland the following night. And then we blew out Minnesota right before the All-Star break. So, guys, what are your feelings on this team going into the All-Star break?
I think the Hornets they realize they are on the cusp of being a good team. I think everyone players.
Kaiser, how long have we been saying that, man?
I know, right? It seems like forever, but the Hornets. I think all the teams in the NBA, they know whether they're a good team or a bad team. And the Hornets, for the last few seasons, never really knew. They knew they had the potential to be good, and we saw flashes of it at the beginning of the season. But I think now, as it's starting to all come together, I think the Hornets are kind of like, wait a second, we got a chance here to for one, do something that's never been done in the Hornets franchise history, win the division, possibly be a playoff team, and be considered a good team.
Yeah.
And I think some of the statements I heard from the players and Coach Borrego prior to the break leads me to believe that, first of all, none of the Hornets participated in any all-star activities, even the ones they were invited to. LaMelo Ball turned down the skills challenge. Miles Bridges turned down the dunk contest. I think they realized the rest and focus is important during this break, getting healthy. I don't think they're like, that's not important. The all-star stuff, that's not important. We got a job to do. We got games to win. And especially when you do something like go on a very tough West Coast road trip and come out 500. There are elite teams in the NBA that don't go 500 on Western Conference road trips because it's just that tough. And to pull out first of all, that Sacramento win, and I know Sacramento is not a good team, but they're not that much worse than the Hornets, honestly. And but to get that win the way that they did shows guts. One thing I'll say about this Hornets team, and I don't think we ever got this from any Steve Clifford team. I like Steve Clifford a lot as a coach. But Borrego's guys, they never give up. They never give up. I don't care if the Hornets are down. I mean, I have a confession to make about the Sacramento game. I turned it off with 49 seconds left because I said there's no way the Hornets can win this game. Flagrant foul on LaMelo Ball. They're down 8 points. Sacramento gets 2 shots and possession with a minute 6 seconds left. That's impossible, right? That's impossible. And then the next thing I know, I go in the group to see what they complaining about now. And Cass is like, Malik Monk. I'm like, yo, hold up. So I got to get back on the internet and watch the final minute and 6 seconds of the game, which was just, they just never gave up. A lot of teams would have given up in that situation. And I think that's one of the hallmarks of a good team. You find ways to get those wins and you execute.
It is funny you are mentioning the dynamic of what a good team is and what a bad team is, because what do bad teams do, guys? Bad teams find a way to do what? Lose games. What did the Sacramento Kings do? They found a way to lose the game.
I've never seen that way found in my life.
Well, I was gonna say I felt sorry for Sacramento because I remember a game against the Miami Heat a few years ago.
Kaza, hold that thought, because you're kind of stealing my point a little bit. What I was actually going to say was maybe 2 to 3 seasons ago, we were that team.
Yes, we were that team
that was finding ways to lose games. We were the ones making crazy turnovers and missing free throws. And go ahead, Ronnie.
So I got a funny story about that game. So this is back when I had season tickets. We were at that game, and we were like, oh, man, we got this wrapped up. And so we were leaving, walking out, and people were getting loud. And I hear, oh. By the time I got down the escalator, the Hornets have a heartbreak. I'm like, what the happened? And I look, don't remind me of that anymore, Jamal. But you go ahead, man.
No, but what I'm getting at is that it points to the growth of becoming a good team, because we're finding ways to win games now. We're finding ways to gut out wins now. During that Sacramento Kings game, man, I was growing so frustrated because Eric Collins kept mentioning the fact that, the Sacramento Kings, they're one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA, but we're the ones allowing 58% shooting the whole game. It didn't look like we were interested in defending anyone or anything the entire game. We were making Harrison Barnes look like LeBron James. Buddy Hield was up there breaking 3-point records against us, man. It was frustrating up until like the last 2 minutes of that. I was mad until 2 minutes left in that game, man. And even at that point, I remember Eric Collins was going back and forth with Dale Curry saying, "You know what, Dale? You think you take out the starters at this point?" And Dale Curry's like, I don't know, man. You got to play to the end, and I don't know.
Maybe tomorrow.
And that's a bad matchup for the Hornets. They shoot the three really well. They can play small, which the Hornets like to do.
And specifically, De'Aaron Fox is a really bad matchup for a rookie like LaMelo Ball, because I'm not coming down on LaMelo Ball. So LaMelo Ball fans, please get out your feelings for a second. But LaMelo has a rookie struggle when it comes to guards who can get in the lane. That defense tends to break down when you have a guard like De'Aaron Fox. So when De'Aaron Fox is consistently getting in the lane, it left wide open 3-pointers for guys like Buddy Hield and Harrison Barnes. So we struggled with that the entire game, man, and it showed itself. But once again, we gutted it out.
PJ Washington that game, oh my gosh. I take back every bad thing I said about him previous to the season. Fans are overly harsh on PJ. Because he's being forced into a role that is alien to him. And games like the Sacramento game where he steps up 42 points. We don't win that game if he doesn't.
We needed every one of those 42 points.
Absolutely did.
And if you look at PJ, man, he's not really having a bad season. He's shooting almost 40% from three. And like Kaza said, he's been forced to play the 5. He's only an inch taller than Miles Bridges.
Right.
That is a difficult task. I don't care if the NBA goes small. He still has to go up against people that are bigger than him. But
you know, man, fans don't like context. Everything that is stated as context are things that are used as excuses to some people. But for context, I mean, look at the season, man. Like, he came into the season a little out of shape, man. The coronavirus has already affected this season as it is. There's no training camp coming into the season. And like you guys mentioned, he's playing out of position most of the season, man. And all that stuff matters, man. And I think what we may be seeing going into the second half of the season, hopefully we'll see a PJ Washington who's getting more into basketball shape, who can get even more consistent. And that's not to say this guy's had a terrible year. I just think he didn't meet a lot of people's expectations. And I think people were just a little too quick to jump the gun on PJ Washington, man. They would just start Miles Bridges, PJ's terrible. It's like, let's calm down a bit, man. Let him he'll get back to the guy we want him to be eventually.
And what's impressed me about him is he's averaging basically a block and a half a game.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna just leave it there.
Yeah.
I still don't like him at the 5.
No, I don't either.
I would rather the Hornets kind of shore that situation up, and then
say that.
Oh, I'm gonna save my comment too. I think I know we're gonna.
Also, last thing about that game, that's probably the first walk-off and one I've ever seen in the 35 years I've watched basketball. Great shot by Monk. Monk showed up. Malik Monk's been phenomenal in the last month or so. So props to him. And the Hornets don't have this recent string of success without him. But to have the guts and the basketball IQ to drive the lane and create contact to make the shot, that's a big step up in Malik Monk's game. Once upon a time, he would have maybe just pulled up for 3 or taken a bad shot, but very, very smart of him to drive the lane, get the foul, shoot free throw, win the game.
What did I say last week about Malik Monk, guys? I said a part of his success this season was taking better shots, and he puts pressure on the defense when he goes to the basket. What are we seeing more from Malik Monk this season? We're seeing more of him going to the basket, and it is paying off big time, and it got us a win, man.
In fact, he didn't hit a 3. Nope. If I remember correctly,
right? I think he was over 6 over 7 or something like that. Right? Man. Yeah. But look how he goes 0 for 7 and still affected this game. Right. Stuff like that wouldn't happen in the past with Malik Monk. He goes 0 for 7 in the past. He'll sulk, he'll pout, and he'll ultimately be sitting on the bench. But not this season, man. That's another sign of growth.
That's the difference in coaching.
So, guys,
funny how that works.
I just want an overview from you guys. So, I want some midseason grades. Look, particularly, I just want you to grade the starting 5, the bench, coaching, and the front office, and just kind of tell me briefly, Jamal, tell me the reasoning of the grade that you chose. So look, how would you guys grade coaching?
I am actually going to give Borrego a B, a solid B. And I'll be brief, Rodney. I'll give him a solid B, man, because, with any type of roster turnover, it's always going to, let me back up. Gordon Hayward and LaMelo Ball, those are 2 new pieces that he's had to manage with the guys that he's already had. And I think he's done a great job of doing that. So that's my brief answer.
I agree. B, I think, is what you give Borrego. This is the first year in which this is his team, his roster composition. Malik Monk is the only remnant of the old coaching staff. And if you look at Malik Monk under the old coaching staff and the difference in Monk under the new coaching staff, it's clear that Borrego was able to get more out of Malik Monk's talents than Steve Clifford was. My only criticism of Borrego is that he's actually backed off a little bit on trying out different things. He's kind of fallen this season into this stubbornness thing, which was not something Borrego did in his first 2 seasons. He was always like, okay, that rotation didn't work. Let's try something different. He doesn't do that as much this year. I also feel like he could have found a way to start LaMelo Ball sooner. I think that, the Hornets have developed LaMelo and brought him along just fine, but I feel like if Vince echoed this, I think they could have found a way to.
I will briefly push back on one thing, and just slightly with LaMelo Ball. I agree. Maybe he should have started earlier, but I will challenge you and say I think that Borrego's coaching. I think LaMelo Ball has received Borrego's coaching very well.
Yeah.
I think those times when he sat LaMelo Ball, I think LaMelo actually responded a lot to that, man. Responded.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I actually saw something online today. It was with Chris Broussard. It was 2 videos, and he actually praised the coaching staff for actually kind of making LaMelo earn it. And he was saying that it's actually propelling his performance and making him more accountable. And he's giving not Steve Clifford. Oh, Jesus, no. James Borrego credit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, guys, the starting lineup. What do you guys think of the starters? I'm going to say this. If Jamal wants to write an article, he can if he wants to, just kind of give people grades. I mean,
I'll go with a B minus. And I hate to be the broken record and talk about what everybody else is talking about, but it's obvious that upgrade at center would be nice. I want to be clear. I am not in any way, shape, or form a Cody Zeller basher. I actually like what Cody Zeller brings to this team, but he just doesn't provide enough of what we need, which is just an interior defender. I think a really good, legit space eater and interior defender would help this team dramatically defensively. And again, that's just not a slight on Cody. I just think he's more suited coming off the bench, and a slight upgrade is needed. And that's really it, man. And it's been pretty stable other than Devontae and LaMelo kind of switching out starting spots, man. But overall, I think everyone's kind of overachieved, man. So I say B minus.
Yeah, I think B minus, maybe a C plus for this. We'll take the current starting lineup. The only thing is that we still need to address the center position. Also, I don't like when Borrego, it's clear LaMelo Ball can't ever go back to the bench. He can never go back.
I agree. Can't do it right now.
So the thing, I remember when Devontae Graham came back, I remember there was a starting lineup that had LaMelo, Rozier, and Graham. That's not going to work. You cannot do that. Now, luckily, based on comments that Graham made recently, I think Devontae is fine with the backup point guard role. Also, consistency is the bane of this Hornets team. And I understand if one starter is having an off night, then you got to rely on your other guys. If Gordon Hayward's having an off night, then Rozier needs to step up, vice versa, LaMelo. But sometimes I don't see enough consistency from the starters, and then we have to have Malik Monk and Miles Bridges bail everyone out. I don't like that. They got to shore that up.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the actual bench players? I'm talking Miles, the Martin twins, Malik. I'm gonna even throw Future Graham in there, Future Graham and Biombo. So what do you guys think about that? Oh, and you got Jalen McDaniels.
I'm actually very high on
13 right now.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I'm actually very high on our bench, and I actually think our bench has won us a few games, especially on this road trip, man. I actually think the bench kind of won us the Phoenix game, man. And on top of that, I am very excited about the possibility of Devontae Graham coming off the bench with the unit that's already in place, man. Look, man, maybe it's homerism. Maybe I'm a little too excited. I'm actually going to give our bench an A, especially when Devontae Graham comes back and he's healthy, man. I am so listen, man. With Malik Monk's ascension, with Miles Bridges having a really good season, Devontae Graham possibly playing with that group, I'm excited. I am, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think this is the most depth the Hornets have had since Jeremy Lin backing up Kemba Walker. And that was a pretty decent team. You know, that was a playoff team that should have beat the Heat in the first round. But anyway, you know,
don't make me depressed,
man.
Oh man,
but
negative memories.
I won't quite give them an A, and I'll tell you why. Sometimes
Biombo, is that what?
Well, yeah, Biombo. Yeah. Sometimes though, Biombo is exactly what we need. It's just weird with him. But it's that I don't think that enough players know what their role is. If Jalen McDaniels shoots a damn 3 4 seconds into the shot clock one more time, dude, that's what you got. So it's like I don't want to see Cody Martin pulling ISOs trying to cross dudes up and go to. I don't want to see that. Don't
I agree
do
with
that.
that, man.
They got it, but I Borrego is very. He's like he encourages players to be that way.
Yeah.
Kaza, but you know what, Kaza? Think about it this way. You know, the last couple of games, like Terry Rozier has kind of been in there with the bench. Yeah. And you know, Terry Rozier is, let's just say, for lack of a better term, he's not the most traditional point guard, if you know what I mean.
No.
I think with Devontae Graham playing with that group, I think some of that stupid stuff kind of clears up. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I get it. Those guys, they got to get theirs. If you're Jalen McDaniels, you
try to prove yourself.
You got to prove yourself. I get it, but hey, dog, it's like, man, you got hey, cut it out, dude. Yeah. So when he get the ball, he's not passing that thing. He's not passing.
He's not passing.
Okay, finally, look. How would you grade Mitch and company in the front office?
Oh, that's an A. I'll argue that point with anyone. If you look at what we went through with Cho and what we have with Mitch, I mean, night and day difference. I understand a lot of those things weren't Cho's fault. If Anthony Davis falls to us in 2013,
it's a totally different conversation.
We're having a different conversation now.
He's still being local, though.
But Mitch, first of all, to pick 12 and 13th and then get Miles Bridges, and I understand before everyone comes at me that we traded away Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but we got Miles Bridges and Devontae Graham. A lot of people forget about that Devontae Graham part. We ended up with another second round pick, and essentially we got 2 solid players for one good player, and I think that bodes well for what the Hornets were trying to do. I'll be honest, we didn't need Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at the time. We had Kemba Walker at the time. And if we get him, we don't get LaMelo Ball. And I don't care what anyone says. I'll take LaMelo Ball. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander any day. The potential for the superstar potential is through the roof. So, I mean, if in the course of 2 to 3 seasons, you get Miles Bridges, PJ Washington, Devontae Graham, and LaMelo Ball. I mean, come on. That's a haul, dude. That is a haul. And I don't think anyone can unfairly criticize Mitch Kupchak. Now, the question is this Michael Jordan's doing?
Save it.
Look, man, look. If you're gonna criticize Michael Jordan for all the wrong moves,
you gotta give him credit for this, man.
Yeah, give him credit for the good moves. I gotta say it.
Listen, so during the course of this offseason, we got the best free agent available. We got rid of Nick Batum's contract, most of it, and we got the best rookie out of the rookie class, perceivably. How do you not give them an A? And to add context to this, man, you know, with those moments that I've defended Michael Jordan's ownership, you know, one of the things I've said in the past is that I never knew whether him and Cho and Clifford or whether it was him and Bickerstaff were ever on the same page.
Yeah, it
feels more and more like Mike and Mitch are on the same page. It feels like they're thinking alike. and here's why I feel that way. You know, with these reports that come out and say, you know, hey, Mike has given Mitch his blessing to do this or to do that. And the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 moves like that, they've worked out very well for the Charlotte Hornets. Yeah. So how do you not give this team, how do you not give management an A for this offseason, man? And, going forward, man, we've always argued rebuild versus retool and all this stuff. I just say, man, just keep it simple and just get better however you see fit. There's there's no one way to do that. And I think Mitch and Mike are proving that. You know what I mean? You don't have to tank to get better. You don't have to do it one way, man. And I like the way they operate business these days. I really do.
Also, not re-signing Kemba and getting Terry is looking like a genius move.
Listen, I love
forecasting, foresight.
Now, I want to brag on myself a little bit because I'm light-skinned and I like doing this. I want to brag on myself a little bit. I was listening to a former under construction show, a very early show that we did. And what I said when Kemba Walker was leaving, I said, what's going to happen is Mitch is going to sell his vision to Kemba Walker. Either it works out or it doesn't. Mitch is going to tell Kemba, look, if we keep you, we're not going to get that much better. And that was the reality.
Yeah.
If we don't keep you, we're going to have an opportunity to get better. We're seeing what's happening now. That's all I'm going to say.
Gotcha. So, guys, what are your expectations for the second half of the season? We reportedly have one of the easier schedules left in the league.
God.
And also the trade deadline is coming up soon. Do you anticipate any moves, any like big time moves or cursory moves? Like what do you guys anticipate?
Guys, go first.
Let me say this. There is nobody, even LaMelo Ball, on the team that isn't expendable for the right price.
They trade LaMelo Ball. That stadium might be there the next day.
Within the realm of reason, if the Lakers said, "Hey, we'll trade you LaMelo Ball for LeBron James straight up," you make that deal, right? You make that deal. You make that deal. You want a championship, right? That's what I'm saying. Within the realm of reason. But for guys that I love, like Terry, Miles, Devontae, for the right deal, those guys can be traded. However, people have to realize there's a difference in that good players don't necessarily mean a good team. Think about all the things the adversity the Hornets had to go through from the end of last season to this season to become a good team with good chemistry. So you bring in a better player for Terry Rozier or whatever. That doesn't mean the Hornets are going to be a better team. Look at the Washington Wizards. You trying to tell me the Washington Wizards don't have a better roster than the Hornets, right? They have Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, and they probably won't make the playoffs.
I got better pushback. I think Washington has better top
heavy.
Yes,
but they'll have more depth, though. Yeah.
True. Or take a look at the Houston Rockets. Same thing. Great top heavy talent. They'll probably miss the playoffs as well. So I actually don't think the Hornets are going to. They're going to put the feelers out to see. We already know that there's been talks about possibly getting Vucevic from Orlando. They're going to put the feelers out to see what's out there, but I don't think they're going to be too aggressive with the trade. I don't think they're going to. Yeah. They don't want to mess up this chemistry. If they can trade, somebody like one of the Martin twins or Jalen McDaniels and some picks to shore up that center position, that's what they'll do. I actually expect the Hornets to be right there in the division lead, and from the 4th spot in the Eastern Conference all the way down to the 10th, there's literally like 2 or 3 games difference
separating.
Yeah. I expect the Hornets to be right there. I think they'll make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Where it's there's just too much. It's too close.
Yeah, it can literally be anywhere from 4 to 10, man.
Yeah. So, but I expect them to continue the path that we've seen them on before the All-Star break. It's clear they're a better team than they were at the beginning of the season. Yeah. And the Hornets are at that point where they are winning the games we expect them to win, losing the games we expect them to lose, and sometimes winning the games we expect them to lose. And that I think will make them a playoff team.
All right, man. 37 games left in 67 days. Now you look at that and you're like, holy cow, man. Like that's a lot of condensed games in a short amount of time. However, I will say that in the beginning of the season, with this very young group, I think they did pretty well facing the same situation in the first half of the season. Also, as far as any moves to be made, I agree with Kaza, man. I don't think Mitch Kupchak is going to do anything unless it really moves the needle. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to necessarily dangle first round picks just for a slight talent upgrade. The interesting player in all this is Cody Zeller because he does have an expiring contract on the deal, which I think that may be attractive to some other teams. We'll kind of see how that goes. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Hornets if they hold pat at the trade deadline and don't do anything. I think more so what may happen is what has happened in seasons past. Like Kyle said, you put the fillers out there, but ultimately nothing happens. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens this year. And let me be clear, I'll be totally fine with that. I really would. Yeah. Not saying that, these two rookies in the G League are going to just change the entire fortune of the franchise if they're called up, but we still got to we can still see what we get out of Nick Richards if and when that time comes, to see if he shores up the center position. We'll see. And again, I'm not putting all my hope and faith in Nick Richards like a lot of people are. No shade. But as far as the schedule is concerned, man, thank God it's softening up, man. At this point, with our record being what it is pretty impressive. Looking at the teams we faced so far, we've been through the gauntlet, man. You know what I mean? So the worst of that at least is over. I expect the Hornets to have a 20-17 record for the second half of the season, and I think if that happens, that should shore up a playoff spot.
Gotcha. So, look, final question before we move on. Tickets are on sale. You guys know? Mark, you want to go. Look, you're thinking about it hard. Look, activate those antibodies.
I need to know what the social distancing is going to be like. I need to look at a few games and see how far apart Cass is sitting and all that.
I'm really considering. I just want to support the team and see them play. I miss it.
Rodney, I think I feel exactly like you because like with the Panthers this past season, there was no way I was going to go because it just felt forced and coronavirus was rearing its very ugly head. But now that I've had coronavirus and I was cooped up in the house for a couple of weeks, man, and it's driving me crazy. It's like let me just see how everything looks. Just like Kyle said, let me just see how everything looks, man. I may be in there, dude, because I'm going stir crazy being in the house. I miss my guys. Me and Rodney, we were there all the time in past seasons, man. I just miss being there. I miss the environment, man. But I also still want to take this pandemic very seriously as well. So I'm a little torn.
I'll tell you this. I cannot wait until, I think about this all the time. I cannot wait until a full capacity Hornets game.
Woo!
It's going to be amazing.
The first time LaMelo throws an alley-oop to Miles Bridges, they might have to shut the shit down. You know how they shut down games at the Rucker because some crazy shit happened? They might have to do that at a Hornets game. Cat running on the court.
Big Pat going to come out of that half court and be like,
Hornets down by 20. It's over. Hornets getting blown out with that alley-oop. It's over.
Hey guys, look, we're gonna have to move on, man. So let's talk to the Panthers, man. It's not a lot going on in the offseason. So Thursday, Greg Olsen, Thomas Davis, numbers retired. How do you guys feel? Well, not numbers retired, but they're signing the retirement papers, one-day contract with the Panthers. So how do you guys feel about this? Are you guys happy that this is happening and kind of fences are being mended, and hopefully in the future we can get Cam to sign a one-day contract? So how do you guys feel?
Expected, and it just feels right. There's no other way, especially with Thomas Davis. Man, Thomas Davis has been such a great ambassador for the Panthers for so long, man. Nobody's going to remember his tenure with the Chargers and the Redskins, man. Thomas Davis is a Panther. I think I don't speak for the guy. I don't know him personally, man, but I'm almost 100% sure he'd say the same thing. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it just feels right, man. And like you said, man, hopefully it signifies a change in the franchise and not having any beef with the old regime. I'm still holding out hope that number 89 will mend his fences at some point. Maybe he has already, actually, man. But it just feels right, man. And Greg Olsen as well, man. I not to take anything away from him as well. Greg Olsen and Thomas Davis, who's done so much for the Charlotte community off the field as well. I don't want people to forget that either, man. Not just their production on the field and what they gave us, man, but those two guys have been entrenched in the Charlotte community their whole time here. It just feels right.
Yeah, absolutely. When you think about the legacy of the Carolina Panthers and their best players and the best ambassadors, those two guys are going to rise to the top of the list. I mean, Thomas Davis, Walter Payton Man of the Year winner. Greg Olsen, multiple Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. And I'll say this about the old Panthers regime. They were very good to the players.
Yeah.
If you notice, nobody
almost to a fault.
Yeah. Nobody ever has, even though we found out that Jerry Richardson was a sleaze, nobody in the organization has come out to say anything bad about Jerry Richardson or anyone associated with him. Even Cam Newton, which is surprising to me considering what we know Jerry Richardson told him. But everyone was kind of like, hey, those guys were good to me. Thomas Davis, 3 torn ACLs on the same knee. Any other franchise would have cut ties with him. But the Panthers knew the talent was there. And, obviously they made the right move in keeping him on. And the thing with Greg Olsen, I still can't believe that we ended up with Greg Olsen for nothing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that might be the greatest trade in Panthers history right there. We ended up.
Wait. Deshaun hasn't been traded for yet.
Okay, yeah. But until that happens, I mean, to get Greg Olsen, I remember when we got him, I was like, who the hell is Greg Olsen? And boy, first tight end in NFL history, 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. He had this incredible rapport with Cam Newton. Plus, he did a lot for the community. Plus, we know that his struggles as a father with his children, his son going through multiple heart surgeries, and the Panthers being there for that. I am very, very glad to see those guys retire as Panthers. Now I can buy their jerseys and put them on my wall behind me somewhere. And like I said, hopefully we can do that with Steve Smith, but Smitty's a whole different.
Yeah, that's
so guys. I got one question for you. Is Greg Olsen a Hall of Famer? Explain why not? Why not?
I think he is. I don't know if he's first ballot. I think the competition is a little tough, and I know, Kaz, I know what you're going to say before you even say it, man. The Hall of Fame stuff is just kind of, it's just weird. I don't know how else to put it, man. It's just weird, and it needs an overhaul, man. Like if it's me, just off the top of my head, not doing any research, I think Olsen deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I don't think he will be. I think maybe by the second or third time, you'll see Greg Olsen in the Hall of Fame. And look,
if Greg Olsen,
and I'm saying that, and even that may be tough. Let me make that clear. But go ahead, Kaza.
If Greg Olsen was a Dallas Cowboy or a
He'd
New York Giant, we wouldn't even be talking about this. It would be expected that when his name came up on the ballot, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. But because he's a Carolina Panther, he's gonna get shafted. Like Jamal said, the Hall of Fame selection criteria is just really weird. It's all these unwritten rules about how many players can go, how many of each position. That's why we have a log jam at wide receiver. Steve Smith should be a first ballot guy, but he won't be. He might be a 5th or 6th ballot guy, which is insulting to someone that has had the career that sees top 10 in every major statistical wide receiving category, and he's a 5th ballot Hall of Famer. It's like, what?
That alone should get you in there right there.
Exactly. So, so the same with Greg Olsen. He should be a Hall of Famer, whether or not he is. And plus, the media votes on the Hall of Fame. That's what's going to be the challenge to Greg Olsen getting a jacket is how does the media look upon him? I think if they win that Super Bowl in 2016,
he's definitely in. Yeah,
he's definitely in. Them losing that, and Greg Olsen was never the same after that season. The rest of his career, the last 3 or 4 years, were injury plagued, very forgettable in Seattle. That might hurt him some with the media. But I will say this about Greg Olsen. I don't think he gets enough respect in comparison to his peers. When everyone talked about the best tight ends in football, and I remember this. Ron Rivera, Rob Gronkowski had a big season, right?
Mm-hmm.
He put up like 1,200 yards. And Ron Rivera made the statement, well, our guy can do that too. It's just that we're not as dependent on him as Tom Brady is on Rob Gronkowski. And boy, people were like, Ron Rivera does not know what he's talking about.
What part of that is a lie? That's my question.
Exactly. Nothing he said was untrue. And it was after that Greg Olsen had the 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. He said, hey, our guy can put up 1,000 yards as well. Yeah. It's just that the Patriots rely more heavily because we still had Steve Smith at the time. They rely more heavily on Gronkowski than we do Greg Olsen, and people were up in arms about that. And I felt like that 3-year stretch, there wasn't a better tight end in football. There was not Jimmy Grant. Rob Gronkowski was barely on the field during that time. You gotta be able to play the game, right?
There was definitely no one more consistent during that time than Greg Olsen was.
Yeah, I feel like he just doesn't get the respect that a guy like Jimmy Graham, who was a great tight end, but where is he now?
Right.
I feel kind of bad for Olsen like that. Like someone in the comments though said that he's part of the media now, and I think he'll do a great job as a media personality, and maybe that will help when it comes.
Well, look, I know one thing for certain: he will be better than Jason Witten. I think. Look, guys, I honestly think that there is going to be a backlog. You're going to have Antonio Gates, Gronk, Travis Kelce, and all those other, and Jason Witten as well. And I hate to say this. I can see Greg being a Drew Pearson type guy, and people from the media always fighting for him to get in when he should be in. And like Kaiser brought up, he is penalized for where he played. If he put up this type of production in Chicago or Green Bay or the Jets or the Giants or one of those markets, it would be a no-brainer. But I mean, it's penalized for being a Panther.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, in the famous words of an old coach, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is, yep.
So, guys, the Panthers are reportedly going to franchise tag Taylor Moton. Is this a good move?
I don't know if it's a good or a bad move. It's a necessary move. I will say that. I think you got to look at this, man. Think about our offensive line without Taylor Moton this year. We don't want to imagine what the offensive line would look like without him. And the free agent market this summer is very thin when it comes to offensive line help. So, with that being said, it was necessary. I think, obviously the franchise tag, it is what it is. It overpays certain talent, but at least it buys you some time next season to negotiate a fair contract, whatever that may be and whatever both sides agree to. But again, man, just necessary. Not to get off subject, but I did see something this weekend that intrigued me. Trey Turner looks like he's going to be cut. Now, what if you can franchise tag Taylor Moton and get Trey Turner on the cheap? Now,
a question. Did we burn that bridge?
Maybe. I don't. That
Trey Turner needs a job.
That's
yeah. He gonna have to swim across. Water ain't that deep.
But I say all this to say, man, is that getting offensive line help without re-signing Taylor Moton in some degree was going to be extremely hard this offseason, man. So it was a necessary move.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. You got to make that move. Typically, you don't want to sign offensive linemen to long-term contracts until you have to, or else you end up with situations like Trey Turner. Linemen in the NFL have extremely short careers. I know that, and I know that this kind of benefits teams more than the players do. However, a guy getting paid $10 million a year for 1 year, I'm not going to cry for him. So this is the best situation for the Panthers and for Taylor Moton. If he produces and has a good year, then you pay the guy. If he has a downward year or experiences a lot of injury, then that gives the Panthers more options moving into next season. I don't think they want a repeat of the Trey Turner situation, which was a holdover from the Hurney era, if I remember correctly. I think Gettleman left.
Yeah, that was Gettleman. That was
Gettleman. I thought that was Gettleman's guy, but Hurney extended him. Someone in the comments correct me on that. But I just don't think the Panthers, especially with Tepper bringing these new people in, particularly to handle cap situations, I don't think they want to end up with another Trey Turner situation. So they franchise Moton, keeps the little bit of consistency that we have on the offensive line intact, and it gives us some wiggle room for next season.
Listen, because I think we all can agree, man, we need as much offensive line help as we can get, man. So I would
actually love for them to bring Trey Turner back. It's not like he was garbage. He just wasn't.
He wasn't worth what he was being paid.
Exactly. He wasn't.
I think he's worth. I think he's worth a second chance. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, guys. I'm going off the rails right here. I have a crazy question. You guys may look at me crazy or whatever, but does Duke and North Carolina still matter in the grand scheme of things? Does it still matter?
Listen, Duke and Carolina is always going to matter. Did it matter this year? No. Why didn't it matter this year? Because Duke sucks.
Duke's trash.
I could not wait to say that. But anywho, man, I think Duke and Carolina has kind of fell off a bit this season for obvious reasons. Let's start with the most obvious: coronavirus, man.
Coronavirus.
Listen, man. I've always said this. The Duke Carolina game, I actually enjoyed a lot more when they played at Cameron Indoor Stadium, only because that environment is second. There's nothing like Cameron Indoor Stadium when they're playing North Carolina. You get what I'm saying? So we've witnessed Duke Carolina games with a limited crowd versus and no crowd. It's not the same, man. And not just because Duke sucks. It's just the circumstances around college basketball, coupled with the fact that both teams at that time were on the bubble. You know what I mean? They're not the cream of the crop in college basketball this season. I think all of that just kind of contributed to the fact that it just lost its luster this season. But going forward, man, it'll be back.
I'm gonna push back. I mean, last year, a lot of people really didn't care for it either, man. Those Carolina guys, they don't like watching the team when they suck. Like last year, they sucked.
But listen, Rodney, I put a poll out. I said, look, who are you going for? Who you got this weekend? Duke, Carolina, or we don't care?
We don't
care. The
highest
percentage was we don't care. Guess who that came from? Duke fans. Duke. So I'm not gonna sit here and say it about Tar Heels fans when Duke fans are acting the same way, man. Not gonna do it.
So Duke and North Carolina have been beefing for 100 years. Literally, their first basketball meeting was in 1920.
Wow.
This rivalry would never not matter. You cannot beef for 100 years and then suddenly be like,
Yeah, we don't care anymore.
I can't think of any other major college rivalries in which the two schools are this close, 8 miles apart. And if you've ever been to Chapel Hill, Durham area, there is a stark difference between that in that 8 mile stretch. Now, don't get me wrong. UNC and Duke are both highly privileged schools. So there's not that much difference in the students that go to one another, but there's enough difference to where that matters. But I think this speaks to the larger point about how college sports are being viewed, particularly basketball, mainly because there's been this push recently, and I'm 100% behind this, for athletes to skip college basketball and go directly to a pro league. LaMelo Ball is going to cause a lot of high schoolers to consider skipping college and going to play in an overseas pro league.
I think we're speaking to a bigger issue now. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And as a result, college basketball is not. I don't think it's now. Granted, there's been the coronavirus but I just don't think that it holds the same passion for people as it used to. Football is different because players don't have any other option but to play college football in order to make it to the NFL. Basketball is a little different. The one and done phenomenon, I think, has kind of killed
college basketball.
The allure of college basketball. It absolutely has, and then there's talk of a league that will pay players up to $100K between the ages of 16 and 18.
Shout out to LeVar Ball.
Yeah, an idea LeVar Ball had in order to play basketball. If you're a highly touted high school prospect, why would you go play college basketball? Why would you allow Duke or North Carolina, for that matter, to profit off of your visage, sell jerseys with your name on it, make all of this money, while you get nothing? You're just there so you can make the leap to the NBA. If you don't have to do that, if you can make $100K and do that, then I believe that you should. And I think the fact that North Carolina Duke has lost some of its luster is because of this bigger.
It's a bigger result of college basketball. Right. Yeah.
But now, to answer the question, yes, it still matters.
With all that being said,
people in North Carolina,
and that's all that matters, honestly. Now, with all that being said, the next time both of these teams are ranked in the top 10, you let me know if it still matters or not. It'll absolutely matter. So, yeah.
All righty, guys. You put back on my question, disrespecting me in my house.
No.
I got another question for you.
By the way, real quick, the first meeting between North Carolina and Duke was January 24th, 1920. North Carolina won 36-25.
Wow.
Leaving the old things behind.
Right.
So, Coming to America 2 came out. And I want to get your opinions on this because I'm looking at social media and I'm seeing all kinds of crazy reviews. And what did you guys think of the movie? Like, me personally, it was a little jokey at first, but I kind of liked it overall. I did like it. So what do you guys think?
First things first, I tempered my expectations for this reason and for this reason alone. The original Coming to America is arguably like the best comedic black movie ever made. Arguably, we can argue about that all day long, whatever. But there's nowhere to go when you're coming from the top. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like that. Like Coming to America is at the very least, from a comedic acting standpoint, is perfection. Eddie Murphy was in his bag, like the young kids say, in Coming to America. He was prime Eddie Murphy in Coming to America. You get what I'm saying? Now, you fast forward 30 years later, you get what I'm saying? You have a very tempered Eddie Murphy, who may not be as inspired to be, quote unquote, the Eddie Murphy he was 30 years ago. Now, here's why I'm saying this. You look at the cast of Coming to America 2, it was less about Eddie Murphy and more about the supporting cast. Yeah. Now, that was already going to be a detriment. That's a given. That was already going to leave a mark on this movie because you have less and less of the funniest guy in the cast. Now, I'm going to steal Kai's point because he's going to say the same thing when he goes up next. Give me the name of the guy because I don't even remember the name.
Jermaine Fowler.
Jermaine Fowler. God bless him, man. I just think he was miscast for this role. I did not like the casting for the Prince in this role. I can't come up with a better name for you right now, but the whole time I was thinking like, man, there's somebody better that could have been the Prince in this movie.
Me?
Now, maybe, whatever. Now back to the movie, man. Now, was it like knee slapping funny throughout the whole movie? No, it wasn't that. Did I laugh a few times? Absolutely.
Mhm.
Were there scenes that kind of felt forced on us sometime? Yeah, there was, man. But I think the overall storyline, the visuals, I like the modern twist they kind of put on things. It made it an enjoyable movie. So do I think it was trash like a lot of people call it? Absolutely not, man. Do I think it was a decent family movie? That's important to note. Family movie, I absolutely do.
Kaza.
So I need black people to stop being movie snobs.
Especially when you support Tyler Perry so
Thank
damn
you.
much.
Oh
Thank you.
Lord.
You know, I'm not a movie snob. I'm not an elitist, but you know, black people, we love some of the worst movies ever. And then so when this movie comes out, it's like people were waiting on the opportunity to hate on this movie because we all knew it could not live up to the first movie.
Yeah.
There's no way. It would have been impossible. And the thing is they knew that when they were making the movie. In fact, they allude to it in the movie.
In a scene, there's a scene talking
about how this movie is essentially just a cash grab sequel for nostalgia's sake. And so that I went into it with that same, like, hey, just make me remember why I liked the first movie when I was a kid. And that's what they did. They all the flashbacks were on point. They rehashed these old jokes that were, that are still funny 30 years later. And I want to make a real quick point about Eddie Murphy. A lot of people feel like because the original Coming to America was R-rated and this movie was PG-13, and a lot of people feel like, Eddie Murphy is an R-rated guy, even though his more popular movies have been more family-oriented PG-13 fare, but that's another discussion. But I'll say this movie would have been R-rated if it came out in 1989.
Yeah.
The jokes were raunchy. There are a lot of sex jokes.
Hey, Morgan Freeman's scene was hilarious, actually.
Yes.
That actually was a funny scene, man.
They threw a dick joke in there.
Yeah.
Like we weren't gonna notice. They even threw like kind of a rapey joke in there. I was like, hold up, man. What's going on? Right. So just because they didn't drop the F-bomb every 2 minutes, doesn't mean that the movie was like less adult. Like now, it's still a movie you can watch with the kids. It's a PG-13 movie, but it just goes to show the difference 30 years makes. But the casting, the costume design, the music, where you get Salt and Pepper from?
Right.
Spoiler alert, everyone.
Gladys Knight.
Involved.
I forgot the Gladys Knight scene was pretty good too, man. I actually like that scene as well, man.
Yeah, that was.
Look, funny thing, like when I saw Louis Anderson, I was like, "Oh crap, he's alive still." I thought,
apparently, he really didn't want to be in the movie. I read an article somewhere where they kind of like coerced him to reprise his role in the movie. But I liked the movie a lot. Did I like it as much as the first one? No, nobody's gonna like it as much as the first one. But it made me laugh. I'd watch it again.
I got a question for y'all. Let me know if I'm just completely off base when I say this. I really want you guys' opinion on this, man. I was talking with someone last night, and I'm an Eddie Murphy fanboy. He's my favorite, love him to death, all that good stuff, man. And I was telling my friend, like, if you look at Eddie Murphy's last roles, particularly in Dolomite and Dreamgirls, those roles were very different than things he's done in the past. You know what I mean? And you look at those two roles, he killed those last two roles. At least in my humble opinion, he did. I think with Coming to America, people have to understand that Eddie Murphy is an artist. Comedians are artists. And artists sometimes are inspired by doing different things. If you're kind of doing the same thing you've done before, it's not going to, you're not going to be as inspired to do it as you were 30 years ago. I kind of felt that with Eddie Murphy for Coming to America too. He's probably at the point in his career, he's like, this is a rehash, man. I don't get up to do rehashes anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, one thing Eddie Murphy's always done is he puts his friends on and they just have a good time. Harlem Nights, a movie which is actually terrible, but black people love it. And I love it too because it's Eddie Murphy.
Terrible like Billy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Harlem Nights is Eddie Murphy and his friends playing cops and robbers and having a good time. And I think that's what Coming to America, the sequel, was. Hey, man, he's like, I'm not the same comedian that I was 30 years ago. Let's just dress up and have a good time and celebrate what made that first movie great.
Absolutely.
A couple things, man. Lisa McDowell is still fine.
Yes, absolutely. Sherry Haley is still beautiful. Yes.
Yeah. I actually like what's the girl from Saturday Night Live?
Leslie Jones, man, she stole the show.
She was good. She was good in this.
I've never been a Leslie Jones fan, but she surprised me, man.
She played her character well. I am not a Tracy Morgan fan, but I was able to tolerate him for the film.
I agree.
And it was just like a refreshing moment to hear James Earl Jones's voice, just to have them use Rick Ross's house for the movie. And like, man, Wesley Snipes, man, like
I actually thought Wesley Snipes was really funny in this movie, man. Like low key, man.
I was surprised at
how
funny he was. Yep.
And so, man, I really enjoyed the film, man. I really didn't come out expecting like a dramatic cinema piece. I mean, if you look at the first Coming to America, it was a comedy, man. Like the twins rapping about the men want to feel their breast and the roaches and the barbershop scene. I'm like, how you didn't expect joke scene? I don't know. I don't know what people expected. And quite frankly, I don't care. Stop lying to people and telling them there's a bad movie. You like worse.
There's a Facebook post I saw today that I'm about to steal, and I couldn't agree with it more. I have never cared less about people's opinions on a movie like I have Coming to America too, man. Seriously. I don't care about it.
When I saw that they released it a day early, I told the family, all right, that's what we're doing.
That's it.
Yep, that's what we're doing tonight. We're watching it, and we enjoyed it. I thought it was a worthy movie. So, like someone said, it's the next Friday to Friday.
Yeah,
next Friday is a good movie. Not as good as the original. I'm good with that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Gotcha. So, look, guys, we're gonna do some shout outs, man. Look, I want to give a shout out to y'all. It's our second anniversary on the 10th, and I just kind of made something real quick. Second anniversary shirt.
Look at that, nice.
And so,
when do we get ours?
Selfish.
Yep.
And, I got a shot at, man. I got two. Greg McDermott for the plantation comment. It's not the time or place or environment to be making those comments.
How do you not know yet?
How are you that tone deaf in 20? Yeah.
You look. I heard that he volunteered to step down after he realized what he said his players wanted him to coach still. I actually commend him for that piece. But it's 2021. If you haven't been paying attention to 2020, 2019, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, you got to wake up, brother. It's so ingrained into people that they don't even realize they're doing it. Yeah. I got a shot at the NBA, man. You really chose to have an all-star game in the middle of a pandemic. Now, one of your all-star starters.
Two.
No, Vince Simmons not starting.
Okay.
Back up. Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. They're out the game because they unknowingly went to a barber who found out later on he had COVID. As we learned this past year, you can have COVID and not show symptoms, or you can have COVID and not show symptoms yet. And so the NBA, man, do better, man. Atlanta's a total mess.
Yeah.
Atlanta's a mess.
I'm going to steal one of your shout outs. Shout out to us, man. 2 years in I guess an industry that is very, very hard for black men to break into, man. But like I say all the time, man. Jay Anderson, absolutely. Boy, did you see that today, man?
Look,
Lord,
come on, don't get off task. Come on.
All right, I'm back, man. Shout out to Chloe Kelly. Yeah. Just the people who check us out every week, the people who listen to us, who like, share stuff, man. Y'all keep us going. Like I say all the time, man. Shout out to us, man. Every Sunday, man, it's something I look forward to doing, man. Man, we have a passion for this city. We have a passion for these teams, and we just like to show that every week, man. Shout out to Duke fans. Look, man, don't go into hiding because y'all suck, man. Don't be those people. When I tell you yesterday, Facebook looked like a damn desert. Like there was tumbleweed in my timeline from Duke fans. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. This is why people stay on y'all, because when y'all win, oh Lord have mercy, man, it's a damn parade every time y'all win, man. But when y'all lose, you can't find it. All of y'all are like on the FBI's most wanted. We can't find you, man. So shout at to Duke fans. I'm still another one, Rodney, to the NBA. Not only did you choose to have an All-Star game, but you chose to have it in one of the worst places you could possibly have it. Some of the pictures I'm seeing from Atlanta this weekend on the line, it makes my blood pressure spike, man. I don't understand how people are still this reckless and this careless, man. What's the saying that the old people say, man? A hard head makes a soft ass. I guess that's the way it's going to be, man. So those are my shout outs this week.
I want to shout out to the 90s being back. I mean, the Hornets are popular. The Knicks are of course scene. There's the Coming to America is the hottest movie. I mean, it's like, did we step back in the time machine or something? And so shout out to the 90s being back.
Are we gonna get a Jodeci album next week, man?
If that happens, hey,
I'm cool on Jodeci right now.
And then lastly, I want to shout out. This is a shout out we do every week, and maybe we should just kind of make a tradition to shout out the fans in our chat every week. I love when I start seeing those comments pour in while we're talking, helping to drive our conversation, challenging us, on some of the things that we say. There's been a great addition to Under Construction over, the past year. And we're going to find a way, because eventually we're all going to get back in the studio.
Yeah, man.
I'm in there.
But the show will be bigger and better at that point, and we will still find a way to keep you guys engaged with us, as we do it when we're all back together. And so thank you guys. We couldn't have done this for 2 years without you guys. Being a content creator in itself is very, very difficult, because you don't really see the fruits of your labor. In fact, you spend more time, money, and resources that you never get back, doing this. So when you get that fan interaction, then you get motivated to continue doing it. Yeah. So we need that motivation from you guys. Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Look, man. I can't leave on two shout outs. I got a shout out for people, man. Look, we're about to get a stimulus check. Some of y'all fortunate people about to get a tax refund, and you're about to get a vaccine within the next month.
Don't lose your damn minds.
Look, ain't enough crab legs in the ocean, brother.
Hey, there's no CIAA this year, so Zappy, we might have some money for the summer.
Hey, man,
it's not going to be a bunch of rented cars with rented rims on try-on.
But man, also, man, look, I'm into this now. Shout out to NBA Top Shot. I'm officially a nerd. I bought my first pack this weekend, and I will buy another pack. and I will be selling cards. So
No.
if you want a card, look, I'm trying to get a LaMelo card. I'm trying to
and this comes after a week after I called Kaza a nerd. So I might have to take that back.
I don't even do Top Shot. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Look, a pack drops at 5 today. And I'm in it to win it.
Oh,
I'm about to jump in the line. I'm ready. Look, I'm trying to get that resale value.
There you go.
Call me a nerd if you want to. But, man, look, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your continued support. Look, I'm gonna just say this. We might do something in the middle of the week. It depends if our schedules align. Just something fun. But thank you guys so much. And have a wonderful weekend.
Peace out, y'all.
You guys take care.